Donald Trump does not have an electoral mandate. Let's get into it. So we're a couple of weeks past the election, and we're finally getting all the vote totals in from California, from Nevada, and some of the other areas that are a little bit slower in counting. And I think we're getting the full picture of exactly how small or how big this margin of victory was for Donald Trump. Now, the debate is going to go on and on and on about what Kamala Harris should have done differently, what Donald Trump did great. Was it, the anti-trans ad? Was it Tim Walz? Should she have picked Josh Shapiro? We're going to have these debates forever and ever and ever, and we probably will never really have a definitive answer there. But one thing I think that we do need to push back on, and that I want to push back on, is this notion that this was a massive landslide, some sort of historical victory for Donald Trump. I've seen people out there calling it a bloodbath for Democrats, calling it a landslide, that he just dominated, and there was this massive shift to the right in the election because the data just does not support that rhetoric. So let's get into a little bit of the data that we now have with this full picture of the 2024 election. The reality is that the polls that had this as a razor thin election were actually right. Now, I know that might seem a little weird because you're like, Brian, Donald Trump won every swing state. He won the popular vote. And yes, all of that is true. I'm not here to question any of that. That is fact-based. But if you look at the shift of vote margin from, let's say, 2020 to 2024, it tells a little bit of a different story, right? Across the 7 swing states, it was only a shift of about 2.1% towards Donald Trump that won him those states. So this idea that the swing states had this massive shift and Donald Trump slaughtered her across all these swing states is just not true. It was really close in those swing states. Yes, he won all 7 of them. That is a definitive victory, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was a blowout or a bloodbath. Now, the next thing we can talk about is the popular vote margin. I think many people are shocked that Donald Trump won the popular vote, and that is certainly a surprise considering he lost it in his first 2 elections. But the fact remains that Donald Trump still got under 50% of the electorate. So it still remains the fact that the majority of voters voted against Donald Trump than for Donald Trump. This victory for Donald Trump ranks 44 out of 51 presidential elections since 1824 when you look at the margin of victory in the popular vote. So it is undoubtedly one of the smallest margins of victories that we've ever seen in a presidential election in terms of the popular vote since 1824. Other points that I would argue against this mandate, against this bloodbath: 4 Democrats won statewide Senate races in the 7 swing states that Donald Trump carried. Tammy Baldwin, Elise Slotkin, Ruben Gallego, and Jackie Rosen all won Senate races in states that Trump carried. So again, this idea that the country shifted right, that the country shifted to the Republican Party is not true. The final thing I'll point out as we try to assess, was there really a massive shift to the right? Was there this bloodbath for Democrats? Is that progressive policies, when they were on the ballot, won in some of the deepest red states. Let's take Missouri, for example, a deep red state. In the same election, while voting for Donald Trump, also voted to raise the minimum wage, affirm abortion rights in their constitution, and to require businesses to pay paid sick leave. All 3 policies that are far closer to the Democratic Party than they are to the Republican Party. And so again, this idea that this was this huge shift to the right and that everything about the Democratic Party has been dismissed by voters just doesn't hold up to be true. Democratic senators won in states that Donald Trump carried. Progressive policies won in states that Donald Trump carried. And Donald Trump's electoral victory is one of the narrowest we've ever seen. Look, I'm not here to pour cold water, tell everyone to stop thinking about what Democrats need to do different in order to be more competitive. The soul searching is required, and we should continue to do it. No question about it. I'm also not here to try to make it seem like Donald Trump didn't win the election. He won the election. He won it outright. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. He is going into power, controlling all 3 branches of the federal government. So it's a victory. I think folks wanted lower groceries, lowered housing, lower health care, and they voted to change party, and they voted for Donald Trump. But they stuck with Democrats in the Senate. They voted for progressive policies when they were on the ballot. So I do not think you can look at this election as a complete rejection of everything that's within the Democratic Party and a complete acceptance of everything that's contained within the MAGA universe. I might be wrong. Please tell me if you think I am. Throw down in the comments what you think, how you're interpreting the election results. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.